Hi, welcome back to On the Grids with Candy. I'm having some major technical issues. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. At 11 seconds, I got an A and AE lock. I don't know what that. Okay. Whew. Today I'm gonna do a reading. It's morning. I just woke up. Typically, that's what I do. I wake up. I get a lot of messages in my dreams, and a lot of visions right before I fall asleep. And when I wake up, it's like it all like kind of comes together. This is not always, but spiritual life is cycles, right? So you know, you. It'll push put, you can write things down and do it at your pace, but I prefer to do it in the energy, right? Like, an example, which I don't always like to use. I always pull down YouTube because I'm on YouTube. Okay, so you know how there's all these weird things about, like, if you make a video and you keep it unlisted or whatever, and you let YouTube get all this information on it. Like, there's this whole thing. and if you're a YouTuber, which I know some of you are, that watch me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do any of that SEO. Whatever somebody did last time I paid them is what my videos are doing now. I don't tag. It's not me. I just unsubscribe. So that's one of my favorite words is, when something gets to a point that it's just offensive to my well-being, right? Or to the change that I wish to see in the world. I completely just unsubscribe, right? So I unsubscribe to all of the stuff you can do to make your videos number one or whatever. I tried all of it. I did it on my own. I hired people. Other videos I talk about my channel's taken for ransom. I still have like 2 copyright strikes because they would put shit on my channel that was from someone else's channel while I was asleep at night. Like, and then stuff I couldn't see, and that they were doing, like, then just, so I just unsubscribed to all of it, right? And that usually when I do that, it's because I know, oh, that's the path, right? And I would go back and be like, oh, that's right, because everything in my life has been like that, right? Like, everything that I do, it's miraculous, right? And I'm not in an egoic way. It's miraculous. It's like, even, in different jobs I had, like, my kid doesn't speak. It's miraculous. 3 weeks later, they're speaking. They're attempting, right? My kid hasn't been potty trained since they were, they're in their teenage years. And you're like, it's miraculous. 3 weeks, right? Whole classrooms of 2-year-olds, right? It's miraculous. They're all, like, just doing what they need to be doing within a few weeks of my arrival. Half of them are now potty trained, like, and it was just a hot, screaming crybaby mess, before I arrived. And, people will love that at first, but then they hate it, right? Because I'm just showing you what was possible. And I'm not even doing it by force. I'm just there, and I'm meeting everybody where they're at, and it's not taxing on me, right? I enjoy it. If anything, it gives me energy, right? To make progress in anywhere. And with dogs and children, that's just where I find the most comic relief, where I feel the most love, and I used to say all the time, I'm really great with kids and dogs, but grown-ups, nah, I can't, right? I can't do it. I don't know what to do with it, right? And, because we started out with, and I want to finish that thought, sometimes when these energies come in and out, I allow them to flow, so they kind of, but it's really beautiful how it all gets brought. Usually, if you sit through the whole video, you'll see how everything comes together and actually makes sense and just gives you another perspective. But anyway, I like to channel in real time. I don't want anything to get stale, right? So I'll make this video and I'll upload it immediately, and that's that, right? And I'm not, whatever it's tagged with, whatever it says, you know, I'll add songs in the description, but that's it, you know, and title it. And whatever happens, happens. And I just unsubscribe to the, they want to say hold, they want to give a word. What are you showing me? It's a situation. So yeah, so you pay a lot of money, right? You got to pay money. You pay money. You can try to do your SEOs and you can watch these YouTube videos and stuff, but generally people pay people to subscribe, like, comment, share their channel until they get to a certain point where the algorithm will take it further, right? But they can also cut you off. And I've been cut off like so many times. And exploitation, thank you. Oh, good, the word. And it's like, you know, you got to keep pumping out that content or you start to fall down. Like, that's what I mean. I unsubscribe to all of that. I'm just going to do these messages in real time when I need to do it. I may do it the same days, you know, for some time. And then take a break and whatever, because it is just a cycle. And it isn't authentic if it isn't this way. You can't receive a message on Wednesday and hold it for monetary reasons until Friday or Saturday at midnight. So, you know what I mean? This is not the win-win. The win-win for me has always been do what I'm asking you to do, or, you know, do what I'm showing you, and you'll be compensated. And don't look at this. Look at that. Okay? So, two, when a lot of people get upset when they hear their own words back. And I gotta admit, you know, back in the beginning, like back in Miss Candy's line, like I see people mocking me. Like I know what they're doing. I know they're watching. I know that's what they're doing. But it's like a game. Like people I know, people on YouTube that I don't know, you know, will say things back to me that I've said. And I'll be like, oh, you watch me? No. I came up with that on myself, you know, just to, again, that ego that, because I'm free, because I don't care, I'm not in a competition, right? So people are constantly putting me in one, and I'll be damned if I'll pay to join one, right? Like, oh, here's, you know, it's expensive, you know, here's $400 for 5 videos, right? Like, let me just pay for this torture, right? And then it's not authentic. And the unseen things that talk to me say, everything I do is authentic, and then that's how miracles can be shown. That's how, you know, you can show people the magic is real. Like yesterday's video was all about stripping all the spirituality and all the magic out of it, and just, you know, presenting it in a way that if someone, you know, did not have, you know, they did not have a spiritual sense or a religious sense in them, or they just didn't, you know, I can explain it in every way, in a scientific way, that it still, just changing the words just makes it spiritual, right? Makes it mental health. That's what, in all religious texts and everything that you're looking for this overlap, where it always is that. It's always that. Right? It's the same action with 27 different definitions, like in ABA therapy, right? And in Miss Candy's Land, where I actually go into that a lot and try to help people while I had my school, you know, show them different products and what I do with them, and, you know, about the system that was actually affording them the ABA therapy, and what the ABA therapy actually was. You know, it was just a mutation of Montessori to program, right? Because, well, their mind doesn't work like yours, and we're going to make sure they know that, so we're going to berate them, and we're going to make them feel this small. You're not the same. Just because they're neurodivergent, right? You're not the same. So you got to have all this special therapy 24/7, right? And you're probably going to have a bunch of other problems. It doesn't matter. Doctors, once you get that diagnosis, they're happy to put some screws on you, you know? You know, oh yeah, that's right. And we can get away with it because you already have this diagnosis. You already have all these people coming, you know? So, you know, giving you therapies, right? Okay. I say, hold that. And me, I would just come in and meet them where they're at. I would just come in and be that energy of you're exactly perfect just the way you are. You're perfect just the way you are, right? You want to learn some new things? I'll show you. But I love you just like you are. And I think that there's something incredibly special about you. Your brain is different, yes, but that makes it better. And that's what I would tell the parents. That's what I would tell the kids, and so that they would just come into like what was wonderful and extravagant about them, right? Like how their intelligence really was beyond anyone their age. Now, and let them get through that loneliness, right? That I can't relate to my peers, to understanding what they can relate to, and then coming in, right? It's like a, and that's what autism requires. The whole family has to do it, even if they have family members that, disagree with what they do. It has to explode. It has to. If you have someone abusing a child in your family, what has to happen? It has to explode. It has to, at some point, that pressure cooker has to pop off and everybody has to turn around and make a choice. To investigate, to believe it, and act, or to ignore it. And because they're too scared to have anything break away, right? So they want to project this perfect family and that they have it figured out or whatever. We can't do that to Uncle Joe, right? Like, or, we're going to kill Uncle Joe. There's no in between. If we're just going to cut the cord of that weirdo, right? That's what they do to people who, like, again, that's me. Like, I'm looking and I'm like, this is nothing but abuse, right? Looking into my own family and how bad it was. And that everybody was just, it's like they would admit there was a problem. But then unadmit it in the same sentence, right? Or make it like it's not that big of a deal, Always to me, like, do you know how many kids this happens to? And two, I don't believe I'm special. So I grew up understanding I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that has this horrible situation as a child. And so that's why I went in to become, working with kids, and then studied law to become a juvenile probation officer, because I ran away from home. I lived in homes. I lived in receiving homes. I had to stay in some really bad detention centers, and then just to be sent back home, like a year or something of that, and then just take her back. Right? So, okay. So that's how I learned, like, unsubscribe. When I had to go, I unsubscribed. I unsubscribed from all of it, right? Like, fuck the system, fuck my family, and at some point, I'm sure I was like, you too, right? Why? There's nothing I can do but sit here and be tortured, right? But then, even at 16, well, at 14, that's what, okay, so all of it's culminating to, first of all, love. When I was 14, let's go 13. My parents, that's when they separated and they were fighting. Neither one of them was a good person. I mean, whatever terms you want to say, they had their problems and they did not like children, and they did not like that they had to take care of children. They wanted their own lives, is the best way I can say it. And then they became jealous of their kids and other kids and their sisters and their brothers and it was just this crazy competition. And of the poorest poor, right? Like, we were so poor, people had to bring us groceries. But they were in competition of who had what, right? And yeah, where my mom had a closet full of clothes and shoes and jewelry, we didn't have any milk, right? Or we always had milk because my dad made sure of it, but we weren't allowed to drink it, right? So we would have neighbors and family members bring us food, and our lights would get cut off all the time, and You know, they would fight, like they would beat each other with ashtrays and TV antennas, and they would get out shotguns and axes and chase each other with these weapons. And I just had to learn so many things at such a young age. That thing of, I'm okay. Yeah, I know my dad's running around with an axe, and my mom's got a shotgun, or vice versa, whatever. My mom's bleeding from her face, and, you know, and I'm like 6, 7, you know, and I'm like sitting in my room, and that's what I keep doing. I'm okay. I'm okay. And as long as I stay in this dark corner over here, I'll be okay, right? And I was always okay. Anytime I got involved, I wasn't okay. So that's how I learned, you know, and I learned it in a very deep, because I'm so young, my brain is still developing. You know, like I said, all this can go into mental health, whatever. My brain is still developing. I have no safety, you know, no safety. I'm already a dented can, right? By the time I'm 7, I've had at least 3 fractures in my head and face. You know, at this point, if you can imagine. And then there was the other things that my father did, and not just him, you know, that were inappropriate abuse to my body. And he wasn't the only one. And so that was all going on at the same time. And I think all of it at once, you know, and I had already been running around screaming at night, you know, about shadows chasing me and ending up sleeping on top of the refrigerator, and, you know, having to be tied to people's legs because I would something about the dark. I was so terrified of the dark. But again, I would get left places, or my biological father, my mom would get in a car and throw us in a car in the middle of their fight in the middle of the night, and then she would be just driving down these crazy, I'm from nowhere, Virginia, where these like country roads are crazy, and they're just driving all down them, and then my dad's like chasing us, and then he's getting out of the car with a knife, and he's beating on the window, I'll kill all of you, right? Like, and he's drunk and driving, and just all these things, right? And in the moment, I felt the gravity of the situation, like I do now, but no one around me did. It's okay, your dad gets drunk and acts like this, it's okay, you know, always, like, and I was like, you know, your dad does weird things to you when he's drunk. It's just what drunk people do. I don't know, he leaves you places where they do it, you know, like, I'm trying to show in this video perspective, because even as a child, I was able to gravitate toward the, I'm okay. I'm okay. And looking at that, I'm physically okay, no matter what horrible thing, staples in my head, whatever, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm still here. Oh, there you are, right? This, whatever I'm seeing, because my head's been bashed in so many times, or, you know, I had a psychotic break at 6 and it separated everything, or that unknown thing that we can't describe in science, these unknown things, these unexplained, is what really saved me, because I would just look and there they were to say, this will end, and show me today. And it's like, I said it was Candy's Land a while back, I'd rather be crazy. I'd rather everyone say that I'm crazy than to deny that. And so when you're going through all of this, you know, yourself, when you're breaking yourself apart, because later in life too, I had to come to a point, like, all this trauma did cause me major problems, right? And it never stopped, right? It never stopped. It was, I had to, even moving far away, you know, I started going from Virginia, I moved to New York and to New Jersey, and then now I'm out west, you know, and doesn't matter where I go. So, I mean, they will pay homage. Okay, so after I had ran away from home, after I had been in all those receiving homes, and I had to go back home, the court ordered me therapy. Okay, and before that, it's so Jim, I don't know if it was before or after, my mom, I was living at my grandmother's house with my father, and my mom called me up and said she was going to take me shopping, and she dropped me off at a psych center and told him I was crazy and all this stuff, and I was anorexic and all that. And here's the thing, I'm deathly allergic to onions, and so my family would make food with onions, and I just wouldn't get to eat, or they would serve me that for 3 days in a row. And I would say, "Unge," was like one of my first sound word, "unge," and they would just continue to feed it to me, or that would be my choice. So I wouldn't eat for 4 days because I wouldn't have any food to eat, right? I couldn't eat it. And yeah, so it was always felt like a setup all the time. Anytime it was like, oh yeah, she's starving herself. And then, to get to a psychiatric facility and they'd be like, you have to eat, right? And two, I was really emaciated. I was really skinny. You have to eat. And I'd be like, okay, but just, can I have some food without onions because I'm allergic? Well, yeah. Wait a second. That's why you're not eating? Yeah. Yeah, they won't feed me. Getting to that point and finally having other lookers finally start to see. But they didn't help me. That was the only time I ever had support, was when I actually got around mental health officials, right? Or mental health people. So then after all that, it was like psych center, ran from home, went into all these homes, dealt with all these mental health people, right? And then they said they court ordered me to have therapy. And then I met this wonderful human being. Later, I had him, or one of his colleagues, work with my own son. And it took that one visit for him to be like, you realize that there's something wrong with her, right? You realize there's something wrong, there's something broken in your family. Like, you are okay. And it was him always saying that to me. You're okay. But yet, nothing happened. He was just telling me, you're okay. Yeah, you're in a hot mess. Wow, this is bad, right? And helping me, giving me coping skills and things like that. And again, I think he saved my life back then, because that's when I made the choice to survive, which was go get pregnant so that the state of Virginia would allow me to be emancipated. And that's what I did on purpose. And most people that know me know that. And the father knew that. That's what we were doing on purpose. Like, to have that caliber. And then all my mom would ever say is how upset and how horrible and how that man never wanted to speak to me again because I got myself knocked up. I was this, you've disappointed him. She knew he was like the only person in my life that I saw that valued me, and it made me feel some type of way. And so you can always draw on this too, like, to start doing that inventory. When you're doing that inventory, who do you know makes you feel that way? Who is safe? Like, he showed me safe. I had never seen it. So I wanted to pay my respects to him. And this isn't the first video that I did that in, but wherever you are, thank you. Thank you so much. It's actually my spirit team too. Like, my unseen, they just wanted to, I don't know, maybe you're watching from somewhere. Ooh, oh, it just moves my heart. So, and in that time, so that's where I learned that split also of everything's on fire, but on Wednesday. This will end, and then on Wednesday you'll be sitting with someone who values you and sees your worth, right? And I didn't even see him that many times, but it only took a few times, like, to know that's what I'm looking for. Now, not finding it for long periods of time makes us settle. And then the more you learn, the higher the vibe, the less people there are to value you or to even, right. Or worse, they truly value you, but they lack the courage to say so. Or to openly That's funny. Yeah, okay. That conversation, like I've had it so many times lately with old people I used to know, and it's like when we get to talking about me having this channel, I'm like, yeah, I know some of the stuff I say is controversial, and or maybe it's weird and it's hard to support me out in the open, and I say that. So, I appreciate your email. I appreciate whatever. I appreciate you telling me here in the privacy, like, because that's how my life has gone, right? It's like I only had this one person that actually showed me value. And if I would have shared that with anyone, it would have been taken away. As a matter of fact, it was. That's why it ended. Because everyone could see how elevated I would become, just by being around someone who truly had pure intentions, right? Yeah, they're kind of all over the place. And like I said, I'll sit here, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll have a cup of coffee and I'll say, and I'll have all that vision and overnight and that message, that early morning message. And I'll be like, as I'm opening my eyes and I wait until, all right, are we ready? Are we all together? And, to do a message. And they're telling me now it's purposeful, right? To swirl around. To jump from one point to another, because this is how the mind comes together. Okay, so we're back at the, neurodivergent. Most people are. Some people are more neurodivergent than others, but based on the made-up words to describe what neurodivergent is, all it's describing is someone who can take in information, process it, remember it, and it's not taxing, right? And it comes out in all different ways, and there can, they're, again, meeting someone where they're at and accepting them wholeheartedly. Like I said, if you're an atheist but you work on yourself, I got nothing for love for you and probably want to hang out. I don't have any, my boundaries are different. My boundaries are about harm, and I know better. I know that won't harm me. That's not going to keep me out of heaven because I hang out with people that don't believe in Jesus, right? Or that I love them wholeheartedly and want them to grow and build something beautiful for the world, right? Like that I want everyone, I deserve to be here, and so do you, and all of your attributes, right? Even your confusion. That's why you're supposed to be stripping it down and figuring out who you are, so that you can build what is best for you, which will be the best for the highest good of all, right? That's what makes options. That's what it all comes around to. When you unsubscribe to the old way and you say, no, I'm not participating. I'm not part of the problem. I don't want to be. I'll just do this. I'll just come on here and I'll just say what I gotta say, and spirit will take me where it needs to go, right? And it doesn't matter if I get it from here or over there, right? As long as I can be wherever I want to be and I have food to eat, and it's not even struggling. Like I'm doing great, like I don't have any worries about my survival in any stretch of the imagination. And I'm happy with my results, right? Like I love it. It's exciting to go to new places and, move the RV, but also stay in places where, you can't have RVs. And that's what I mean. Nothing stops me from doing or seeing what I want to do or see. And just like the trip to Oregon, sometimes it just falls in my lap. It's just like, I really wish I could go there. Well, here, go baby. And my job on this planet is to just be that, talk about it, explain it. There's a lot of people too, they'll say, stop explaining yourself. And even the spirits will come down and tell me, don't explain that. Don't explain yourself in that, right? And it has nothing to do with my persona or anything. It has to do with, no, leave that open for their perspective. So it's an unselfish thing. It's I'm not going to tell you that my perspective in this moment. I'm just going to give the information, right? So they kind of tell me when to put that in and when to put that out, right? But my purpose is just to be like, okay, I sit here and I have this perspective. I have been to hell. To me, that isn't even ginormous enough. When I look at that all those old versions of myself and all those old timelines, like, I'm sorry, maybe you can imagine Dante's Inferno and in a way that, you know, would bring that out. But no, a torture that never ends, never gets justice, never gets validated, only gets punished the more they talk about it, right? And so that was okay. Thank you for bringing that around. So that was one of the things too. I know on this, I've created my own barrier, my own wall that keeps me locked in. I came out and I told the horrific things that human beings did to me. That is the truth. And that everyone, you know, in those circles, they know, they've heard the stories, right? But they're, oh, she's lying. Okay. If I come on television and I say, here's what they did, here's what they did, here's what they did, and then having the receipts, having the proof, and they know it, you know, what do you think will happen to me? What do you think? You don't need to be a psychic to know that, right? It's like, I expect to be hated, to be mocked, to be dragged through the mud. I mean, they did that before I was telling, to ensure that I wouldn't tell, right? And now it's just like, no, this is my justice. Because the state of Virginia doesn't allow anything past like 20 years of abuse, whether it's sexual, mental, physical, all of them. I had all of them, but I have no ground, like to have my face fractured. Like I have no ground to stand on, like as far as the legal system goes, you know, there's nothing I can do. That's the world we live in. That there would be a statute of limitations in any state, because you know a child has to survive all that, become an adult that can handle the prosecution of it all, right? Of that person that took, you know, that tore them down. They have to build themselves back up even bigger than that, so they have the strength. And most people, by the time they get to this point, oh, well, you're out of time. Good luck with your broken, fractured life, right? And so I'm the one that said, oh, mine's not. But I'll find a way. This is my justice. This is my justice, and it will come with punishment. It will come with people who are very upset that I'm telling it, because it embarrasses them, even if they had nothing to do with it. Well, that's my family. You know, you're newly in the family. You weren't there all the years that all this crap went down, right? And now you're like, that was my family. You're embarrassing us, right? Like, I've heard it all. Well, you got to embarrass the whole family. I'm sorry you didn't do anything about it, 30 years ago when I first reported. Because that would have been over by now and you would have all been heroes. But instead, we're here. We're here. And showing that a person can put themselves back together after all of this. After all of this. Even in a physical sense of all the injuries and all the drugs they gave me as such a, 11 years old, 12, 13, 14. Like, everything that was done, nothing had a hold except nicotine, caffeine. And so I'm very proud of myself. And that's all it takes. Can you do that in your circle? Can you do your inventory in a sea of assholes and be like, crazy does travel in packs. Birds of a feather flock together. The eagle flies alone. It's everywhere, these signs to see. You find a black sheep, that's going to be the best person you ever knew. No matter what role you assign them, black sheeps get black sheeps. And that's what we're looking for. And not the ones that are broken, that got thrown out and couldn't handle it. Okay? If you're out here alone and you can't handle that, and you're not using this to your advantage to learn, to grow, to do that inner inventory and say, well, now that I'm alone, let me freaking decide who comes around me, right? Because before, I was just in a group, like I said, I didn't ask to be born here, into that family, whatever. None of that shit was my choice. And so once I get outside of it and you say, I have a choice. And a lot of times we gravitate straight to that. And I did that for years because you desperately don't understand why you can't be accepted. Battery's going dead again. Be accepted by that energy. And it's because that energy is supposed to be against you, to show you who you are. Will you just lie down and die? Or become the muck? Or are you going to come over here and start stirring that muck and making rainbows and start building the world that you want to see? So that means you can't engage in things that you don't agree with. This is where it happens, right? This is where it happens. This is where you understand literally everything in your life that you're doing, why you're doing it, what you're doing it for. You know, you start seeing results, even if they're not like, it's not numbers on this channel, but it's what everybody's saying. I say it, everybody says it, right? This isn't even a going. This is something that's been going on my entire life. I wear it, I do it. There's so many of us that know this. So know that I only see myself as an equal to you. That's what we're doing. So can we do it on a bigger scale? Can anyone who's struggling with their egos just get over it and start building what you want to see in the quiet, in the behind the scenes, till next thing you know, now there's a choice. Well, I can go over here, be treated nice, have fair price. It's not chemicals or what, you know what I'm saying? It's what it needs to be. Or I can go over here to what's already in place and we're all so comfortable with and poison myself or keep paying them to destroy the world. Look up a place called Canyon City, Colorado. It's beautiful. There's a Royal Gorge. It's beautiful. It's absolutely breathtaking. There's an old monastery there that you can tour. But look it up. See what comes up. This is happening everywhere. Look what they did to it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it's not just that. Now we have the pressure from the sun, from underneath, you know, the hurricanes, or I mean, you know, the really bad weather, the earthquakes, the volcanoes, you know. All we have to do is face it and start building something else. Those of us that know what the hell's going on. And don't pay any of the other, no mind. No mind. Disconnect it completely. It's like when you leave your family and figure out, oh, those birds are all crooked. I'm gonna go fly by myself. Now I can see more and I can see that, okay, I just need to build my own flock, right? And then I need to build my own nest the way that I want to see it, not the one that they have that still, you know, rips their feathers out or whatever because they're just stuck in tradition. And we get stuck in tradition because the cycles are real, whether they're earthly cycles, whether they're emotional and mental and spiritual cycles, they're real. The whole point of this is to get outside of them and watch them, all of them at once, layered, and say, oh shit, I got it, right? And to know what you need to do next, right? And you're gonna be like, what, that's it? It's gonna be so simple but so monumental at the same time. And don't expect results from what you do. Not what you do. What you're doing. And on the whole, right? So I come out here and tell you, not everything is your fault because it's all I ever wanted to hear. So guess what? It's in my face. Nothing's my fault. And I get restored. I get things that have been taken, like, and I don't care. It doesn't matter to me where it comes from. This is the part where, again, if you do a job, there's no way to be in a line of work that I was in and not, you know, have your hair pulled out and your, you know, sleepless nights and all this working off the clock and all this. I couldn't have done it if I wasn't already in a state of understanding that we have to be the change we want to see in the world and this is what it's going to take. And I'm okay with it. And then I'm okay with, you don't have to celebrate me here. I don't care what they do. As long as I have what I want to have, what's for my highest good. And it always works out that way. And so that was why we came back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what this channel does. It doesn't matter. It's on the whole. It's on the whole. And so all the things I can manifest just rain down on me. And two, when I'm not in front of this camera, I'm the exact same person. I'm kind to people. I have no reason not to be. Whew. All right. So we didn't get any cards, but it's cool because Angels is up and you are supported. 444. If you're seeing these numbers, hey, whatever the angels, like I like to call them, man, they're here. They're like, okay, who's gonna do it? Because for them, at the end of the day, it's not just entertainment, but it's kind of like that. We're their cable. All right. Remember, not everything is your fault. You are so loved. You are love. And that's why I love you too. See you soon.